Oh, dear students, warm welcome to online session. This session talk about cloud security and trust management. So nowadays the usage of cloud services is huge. Many number of end users or customers are using the cloud services. So therefore, the usage of cloud services is rapidly growing nowadays. So to overcome the problem, we need to select best cloud. So various cloud service providers are available in the market, but selection of trusted cloud service provider is a major task. So which cloud service provider will be trusted? Which cloud service provider is a fake cloud service provider? So we need to decide from our side. This is a difficult task. And the trust management always depends on the cloud security only. So why? Because if any one of the cloud is not secure, we cannot trust that type of because our data, whatever the data we posted into the clouds, the data is not secure. If the data is not secure, we cannot say the cloud service is a trusted cloud service. So that's why always the end users or the customers are looking for secure clouds and trusted clouds. So before hosting the data into the cloud or hosting into the data into the cloud, the selection of cloud service provider is very important. The selection of cloud service provider is nothing but trusting the management and cloud security. Who is providing better security and which cloud service providers will be trusted cloud service providers? The selection is very important nowadays. So we will discuss these topics in the slides. And the topics to be covered in cloud security and trusted management is cloud security defense strategies. The cloud security will be defense in various strategies. Those strategies will be discussed in this session now. Now let us see what is security, cloud security, and what is meant by trust management. We will discuss now. Now coming to the point, cloud security and trust management are two key roles for better cloud service management selection. Nowadays, lack of trust between one is cloud service provider and another one is cloud service end users. So there is a lack of trust between a service provider like Amazon Web Service and a cloud user like an end user. So there is a gap between an end user and service provider. To fulfill the gap between end user and service provider, so the main track is trust management. So here the universal acceptance truth is there is a lack of trust between service providers and cloud users. So this is one of the universal acceptance of cloud computing as a service on demand. If we can observe in the past, the trust model have been developed basically while we are doing the online payments like e-commerce, shopping, e-shopping through eBay or some other business tools. If you consider that where we are looking for the security, where we are looking for trust management means whenever the customer or end user wants to buy an item through any e-commerce website like Amazon website. So after selecting the item, he has to place an order through online. Whenever after placing an order through online, the customer need to do the payment through online mode in a secure manner. So various online payment options are there, like eBay is one of the option, another one is Amazon Pay is another option. At that time, the end user need to know whether the online payments provided by eBay or Amazon Pay are trusted or not. So if these are the eBay and Amazon Pay are not trusted payment gateways, our money will be wasted, the transactions will be failed, but the amount will be debited from the customer end side. So to overcome the problem, always the end user will select the best online transaction platform like eBay or Amazon Pay. So from the customer side, he is looking so far. But from the end user side, from the cloud provider side, always the cloud service providers will provide a trust management to the end users like eBay or Amazon Pay. So this type of environment is there in the past 10 years. And nowadays, so the initiation comes from the cloud service providers only. So for web and cloud services, the trust management and security becomes even more demanding nowadays for completing various resources into the market. So here the cloud platform become worries to some users for lack of privacy protection and copyright protection and providing the security assurance to the end users. So trust management is one of the major tasks. The trust management is not a technical issue. It is a social problem. However, these social problems can be solved with technical approaches only. So finally, I can say that providing trust management and security for to the end users from the cloud providers is a main task nowadays. If you consider the cloud security and trust management, the virtual environment, if you consider that a virtual environment is nothing but provide an environment to the end users for deploying their applications into the cloud. So at that time, the cloud processes a new security threats that are more difficult and contained than a traditional client server configuration. So whenever the customer or end user want to host his application into the client cloud environment, so providing security for that cloud environment and provide security for the developed application is mandatory from the cloud providers. So for that, the cloud providers will always providing the security to protect the new threats occurs from the outside. To solve these trust problems, a new data protection model is prescribed in this section. So this new data protection model will be clearly discussed in the next slide by providing trust models to the peer-to-peer networks and data centers. And a healthy cloud ecosystem is designed to free users from abuses, violence, cheating, hacking, virus, rumors, pornography, spam, and privacy and copyright violations. So these are These are listed, these listed are viruses, different types of viruses which may damage the cloud computing environment. To overcome the problem, we need to provide an ecosystem. We need to design, we need to develop an ecosystem for healthy cloud computing to overcome the problem. So if we want to provide or construct a healthy cloud ecosystem for cloud security defense strategy, so the always we need to depends on the providing the security to the cloud. So the security demand of cloud will be mainly based on three models: IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, providing the security to the infrastructure of the cloud model, providing the security to the platform cloud model, and provide security to the software cloud models. So these security models are mainly based on secure layer architectures between the cloud service providers and end users. So now let us see basic cloud security providers, how to provide security to the cloud. We will discuss in this slide. So basically, we need to provide security to the data centers from the cloud side, provide security to the network in the cloud side, and provide security to the platform in the cloud virtual machines. These are mainly focused nowadays. If a cloud, we are working with a cloud computing techniques, always providing the security to these three will play a key role nowadays. Now let us see how to provide security to the data center. So if you want to provide security to the data centers based on the demands on-site security, so we need to provide the security in a clock, round clock, 24 by 7. So we need to provide the security. So for that, the first thing is using biometric readers. That means that biometric reader is one of the device which can be used for providing the security to the data centers whenever you want to add or want to remove the clusters or the servers to the existing data centers at the time. So acceptance of biometric reader is very important. Is considered a main rule. Another one is CCTV. So providing CCTV surveillance in the data centers in all corners will be one of the security in the data centers. So providing the closed circuit TV concept in the cloud data center on premises is one of the main aspect here. And another one is motion detection sensor. So these motion detection sensors will capture if any movement will occur nearby the radius of data centers hosted into the cloud or a place. So it will detect the motion and it will send the alert to the authorized person, so to protect the data, so in the data centers. So, and another one is man traps. So man traps is nothing but unauthorized persons are entered into the data center. It will automatically send a response to the cloud authorized person are often deployed. So we can protect the data centers and provide the security to the data centers by using some devices like biometric readers, CCTV, motion detection, man trap, and which are well familiar for providing the security to the data centers. Next, we move to another cloud security is how to provide cloud security for network related clouds. So here in cloud computing, so the public clouds, private clouds, and hybrid clouds, which are communicate together through the networking only. So whenever the cloud computing machines are run with a network security, so here we are using fault tolerance mechanism for providing the security to the external firewalls. And also the third part assessment is also one of the tasks here. We need to provide the security to the cloud service providers. So what is meant by fault tolerance? Fault tolerance is nothing but If the cloud is working, the virtual machine or the servers is working with a bulk number of traffic over the internet. So at the time, if any one of the server will failure, the entire process may not be stopped. Automatically, it will divert the diversity to the another server. So another server will lead the data, and finally, the entire process may not be failure. The entire process will be success with the help of the fault tolerance. And finally, the last one is platform security. So, in the cloud computing technique, platform as a service is one of the service. So, provide security to the platform as a service is also one of the important thing that can be done by using SSL, secure socket layer, and data description, and providing password strict policies and a trust system certification. Using that, we can able to provide the security to that one. And secure socket layer is also one of the important tasks here. Now let us see, compare the security, how we can provide the security to the networking, and security to the data centers. How we will see now, we will discuss now. If you consider in a cloud computing environment, here there are there are n number of data centers: data center 1, data center B, data center C, and so on. Many data centers are there. So these data centers are sharing the resources from the web application and through load balancing only. That means that here the web application traffic will be diverted equally, shared equally to all the data centers, three data centers, namely data center A, data center B, data center C, with the help of load balancer. The load balancer take the traffic from the web application, and it will distribute the traffic equally among the available data centers over the network. Here, if any one of the any one of the data center connectivity or network failure will occur, the entire process may not be stopped. So automatically, if you consider here, there is a failover occurs here. If a failover occurs for a standby server or data center, the entire process may not stop. Automatically, the load balancer will divert the load imposed on the failure server. It will divert to the another data center. So by sharing the resources equally. So that means that we can provide the security to the data centers with the help of the fault tolerance concept by applying security to the networking concept here. And the fault tolerance is the property that enables a system to continue operations without any disturbance in the event of failure of some components within the system is called as a fault tolerance. Now let us move to another concept is providing security to the data centers. How to provide security to the data centers? Here, if you consider the data centers, there are many servers which are kept into a rack, and this is considered as a data center. The data center is monitored with different sensors like temperature sensor, like humidity sensor, smoke detector, power detector, water leak sensors, airflow sensor, and internet um, IP camera, and motion sensors. So the data sensor is fully working with different types of sensors with well protection only. Why we need to keep or we need to monitor these number of sensors for a particular data center is, so this is for providing security to the data centers. If we will not provide security to the data center, so the data center may corrupt, crores or lakhs of amount will be lose automatically when the data center will be destroyed, and we need to revoke the data. Is a very headache and very complex task. So to overcome the problem, we need to keep a data center in a secure manner by providing the sensors in different monitors view. The first one is motion sensor. So here motion sensor is one of the tasks, is a sensor which can be providing the motion. If another person will enter into the data center, the motion center will capture the person and in a particular radius, and it will send the data to the, it will send an allotment to the authorized person. The authorized person will take the necessary action. So based on the sensors, motion sensors and temperature sensors, always a standard or constant temperature is to be maintained in the data centers for reducing the temperature released from the machines. Heat will be generated generally. Why? Because the data centers will be working 24/7. So meanwhile some heat will be produced. To reduce the heat we need to maintain the temperature sensors. And another one is humidity sensors also. So during the rainy season, and the humidity also need to maintain the percentage in a threshold. So yeah, the humidity cannot be cross the threshold value for protecting the data sensors. And smoke sensors. Smoke sensors means any unauthorized smoke cannot be entertained in these data centers. If any smoke will occurs, so fire will automatically damage the data centers. To overcome the problems, and we need to protect the fire which is occur into the data center, that can be detected by using one detector, that is called as a smoke detectors. And power detectors. Power detectors means whenever the power will failure, automatically the data sensors can be run with huge number of backup data. Huge number of backup data can be lead by the power detectors. And another one is water leakage sensors. So water leakage cannot be, the water cannot be entered into the data center premises. So if any such type of water leakage happened and the water entering into the data center premises, the water leakage sensor also capture the data and it will alert the message. And airflow sensors. The heat will be produced in the data centers. At that time, the heat will be generated. The airflow will be one of the factors. The heat internally produced the data centers can be flow out by using the airflow sensors. And IP camera, and one internal camera will be kept in the data centers for monitoring and functioning whether all the components are working in the proper manner, so that can be provide the sensor. So these many sensors are required for providing security to the data centers. Now let us see the security of cloud service models and the privacy of various cloud service models. We will discuss in this diagram now. Let us consider the cloud service models. Namely, there are three well-known cloud service models, namely software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. Here, the infrastructure as a service is the place for placing or hosting or creating hypervisors or virtual machines. Virtual machines can be kept or placed in the IaaS, infrastructure as a service, with a set of hardware components or set of virtualization concept and devices and application program interfaces. So virtual machines can be established in the IaaS, infrastructure as a services. And the virtual machine can run with an operating system middleware. So the operating system can be placed on the platform as a services. We need to run the virtual machines. We need one platform. That platform will provide operating system or middleware concepts for run the virtual machines. And one software is also required for executing or running the entire virtual machine over the cloud service models. So software as a service will also one of the tasks for providing application program interfaces and various applications. Whatever the applications hosted by the client side, that applications can run with the help of different softwares. So that's why software as a services will provide an environment for running various applications and providing an application programming interface and providing the metadata, data about the data over the period of time. We use this one. And here the software as a services will be well connected to run the applications over the internet and run the data information or management related tasks can be done, and the networking related applications also can be hosted into the platform, and trusted computing hardware and computing is also kept into the virtual machine, and the storage, and we need to increase or decrease the storage services in the virtual machines by adding new virtual machines or by removing the existing virtual machines. So these types of security, this type of security, privacy, and copyright protection measures needed with various cloud service levels using different operating systems. Now let us see security defense need. Cloud security defense need. That means that, so when we need to provide security to the cloud, we will see here. Suppose, for example, security defense means generally the security defenses are required to protect the servers and data centers. So over the period of time in a cloud computing technique. Here some of the components that are provided listed here. Some of the components, cloud components listed here for providing the security to the end users. Here let us take the first one is providing security to the servers, protecting of servers. So in the cloud computing environment, how to protect servers, security, protection of servers from malicious software attacks such as worms, virus, and malware. Generally, whenever we are maintaining the server, huge amount of data will be kept into the server. So at that time, there is a possibility of attack virus to the servers. So in terms of bad software attacks like worms, virus, or malware. These viruses, malware, worms are different actions they are imposing on servers. The servers will be behave differently, and the server's performance will degrade, and the data in the server may crash due to this type of bad software attacks like worms, virus, and malware. And another one is how to protect hypervisors. So protection of hypervisor is also one of the important tasks. So here the virtual machine monitor from software based attacks and vulnerabilities here. So always the protection of hypervisor or virtual machine can be mainly based on the software based attacks only. And another one is protection of virtual machines and monitors from the service disruptions and DOS attacks. And the DOS attacks. Sometimes, so DOS attacks will occur for virtual machines, due to which the data in the virtual machine will be uh, corrupted. To overcome the problem, DOS attacks we need to protect from different cloud security softwares. And the protection of data is one of the tasks here. So how to protect the data? So and information from the theft, so corruptions, natural disasters, providing authenticated and another authorized access to the critical data and services. So that means that whenever the customer posted his sensitive data into the cloud, and providing the security to the cloud is one of the major tasks. For that, only the unauthorized or the authorized access to the critical data and services is important. So if we are there is unauthorized access is not properly done, anyone can modify the data, anyone can do some modifications on the data, can corrupt the data. So that can be prevented by using the protection of data. So by providing the limitations to the authorized access only. And here let us see some security challenges in virtual machines. So whenever we are working with virtual machines in the cloud computing, there are various challenges we will face. Some of the security challenges in the virtual machines we will see here. Now we will compare the attacks or the problems which will rise in the traditional network and the cloud environment we will see. So there are two types of problems. One is traditional problems and the traditional attacks, and the one is cloud environment attacks. So which type of attacks will occur in the cloud side, and which type of attacks will occur in the traditional normal systems, we will compare and we will discuss now. And if you consider the traditional networks, so the computer may attack with bad softwares like buffer overflows, DOS attacks, spyware, malware, rootkits, Trojan horses, and worms. Here, some of the listed viruses are: worm is one of the virus, Trojan horse is another virus, rootkits is another virus, spyware is another virus, malware is another virus, dot attacks is virus, buffer overflow is also virus. So these type of viruses may attack to the client system or the server system in the traditional network attracts. So these are having different, they may damage the system in different modes. So if you consider here rootkit, what is rootkit? Rootkit is a bad software that may uh, hides in a computer and allows someone from a remote location to take full control. That means that our data will be theft through remote access computer whenever rootkit's virus will be attacked to the server. And another one is Trojan. Trojan is also another malicious program that hides within or looks like a legitimate program that the system may behave differently when this type of virus will attack to the system. And worms also. So worm also is nothing but it will kill the storage of the software, storage of the servers whenever this type of virus will attack. And if you consider the cloud environment, new air attacks will be attacking to the cloud environment nowadays, which may result the cloud environment may not be healthy. So to maintain the cloud environment in a healthy manner, always we need to provide the security for newer attacks like hypervisor malware. The hypervisor malware is a virus which may attack to the virtual machines. When it is attacking to the virtual machine, so it will damage the data in the virtual servers, and it will damage the virtual environment in the cloud computing technique. So another one is guest hoping and hijacking. Hijacking or guest hoping is nothing but the data in the virtual machines will be stolen remotely. That can be happen in the guest hoping and hijacking. And another one is virtual machine rootkits. Virtual machine rootkits is nothing but the data in the virtual machine can be theft automatically by someone accessing the virtual machine other located in some other place. Remotely they can access and they can store in the data in the into from the VM rootkits. So these type of viruses will attack to the virtual cloud environments. To overcome the problem, we need to provide a firewall for virtual malware, just hoping, hijacking, and VM rootkits, not limited these. So in general, so passive attacks and active attacks are there. There are two different attacks are there. Passive attacks in the sense they may steal the sensitive data like passwords, and whereas the active attacks may manipulate the data structure and will cause major damage to the cloud service providers. So to provide the security for small sensitive data, so we need to protect passive attacks, and to provide the security for entire structure of the cloud computing servers, passive attacks is far away. We need to provide security for that. So providing the security to the cloud environment is a very difficult task rather than providing the security to a traditional normal networking attacks. So if we will provide the security to the cloud environment, we can say that our cloud is a trusted cloud. Our cloud is a trusted cloud. Next, we will go for another slide. So privacy, copyright protection. What is mean by privacy and what is copyright protection? Here there are several security features designed in a cloud security. So before providing the security to the cloud, there are some features we need to follow. The first one is providing or establishing the trust between two things. That is providing the trust for end users and providing the trust for cloud providers. So we can form a bridge providing the trust between end users and cloud service providers, establishing the trust between these two through a service level agreement is one of the major tasks. So SLA, service level agreement between cloud end user and cloud service provider. So for establishing the trust between these two is one of the major tasks. And another one is effective user identity management and data access management. So the user identity management, that means that only authorized persons can have the authority for hosting the cloud, for retrieving the data from the cloud. And effective data access management, that means sometimes the end users need to do some modifications into the cloud, so by accessing by accessing the data remotely. So at that time, so the effective identification management and data access management is an important thing. And another one is only single sign on and single sign off is required for providing the security. That means that only single sign on and after work completed, sign off is required to reduce the security enforcement over the period of time or over time. And another one is auditoring and copyright compliance through proactive enforcement is very important. Auditing is one of the main feature in the cloud computing. Frequently auditing will result the performance of the cloud computing will be increased automatically. So auditing is also one of the important tasks here. Shifting of control, shifting of control of data operations from client environment to the cloud providers. So sometimes we need to share the data from client to the cloud providers. At that time, the data will be transferred, moved in the terms of packets. So control of data operations is also is one of the tasks here. And protection of sensitive and regular information in a shared environment is also one of the important tasks. Suppose whenever we are working with a private cloud, the data will be hosted into the private cloud only. The employees who are working in an organization want to access the hosted data into the cloud. They need to share the sensitive data like passwords, user IDs at the time. So provide the security for that is also one of the tasks. And next we will see providing the security to the cloud environment. How we will provide the security to the cloud environment, we will see here. Now let us take an example. There are two cloud service providers, namely force.com. Force.com is one cloud service provider. Amazon Elastic Cloud 2, Amazon EC2 Elastic Cloud 2. These two are well familiar cloud service providers. And they are providing some services to the end users like platform as a service, software as a service, and infrastructure as a services. Here, the end user side, the end user wants to host his application through internet on cloud computing. So whenever the end user wants to host his application, develop application in the cloud computing through internet, he can host either application server, he can host either message queue, or he can host either database related. Whenever the person or end user wants to retrieve the data from the cloud computing, so at that time he can use some protocols for accessing the data. Whenever the end user wants to access the application server with he can use one protocol is hypertext transfer protocol. Hypertext transfer protocol will provide the security for accessing the data from the cloud to the end user. Another one is JMS, Java Message Server. So whenever you want to share the message queue from the clients to the server, provide security to the message queue, that is JMS. And another one is SQL, structured coding language. So it is a programming, it will retrieve the data from the database and it will do some operations like any modifications, data definition and data manipulating can be done through the cloud computing technique here. So that means that the database can be manipulated, can be retrieved using SQL, and the message queue can be retrieved through JMS, and the any applications can be retrieved from the data through one protocol, hypertext transfer protocol only. So these are to be interconnected to a gateway that is called as a XML, Extensible Markup Language Gateway. Here, the Extensible Markup Language Gateway will provide security to the all application servers, message queues, and databases. So, based on the requirement, it will be provide the security to the end users. And here, there is a web service client and there is a web browser. So, web browser is nothing but a client. Whenever the client wants to access the data hosted from the cloud, he simply connected his request to the one gateway through SSL socket layer, software socket layer through a socket layer. It will be sent the request to the cloud computing, and cloud computing will provide the response automatically, the response to the browser. And the web service clients will be accessed through XM only, XM, extensible markup language. That means that here the gateway is fully secured to protect access to commercial clouds that are wide open to the general public. The firewalls provide an external shield here. The gateway secure the application like a server, a message queue, database, a web service, right, and browsers such as HTTP, Java message system, so structured query language, extensible markup language, and socket layer, secure protocols, etc. This can be. The user privacy data must not be leaked to the end users without any permission. So we came to the end of the session today. Now I am closing the session. Thanks so much.